Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of entitled people. In today's episode, entitled dog owners refusing to adhere to rules. My sister is taking money from my elderly father, and he is continuing to let it happen. My sister has been lying to my dad about taking his money, and I just found out another lie in real time. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Entitled dog owners refusing to adhere to rules. I worked as a barista at a local cafe for 4 years. During that time, we faced a lot of issues with entitled dog owners bringing in their precious rat dog Scoochie and so on. It would range from someone bringing their dog in and then us telling them, "Sorry, we don't allow dogs in unless they're service dogs," and then acting surprised but ultimately accepting it, to people bringing in their fake-ass service dog and then arguing with me about it. I'm not one to judge, as I know there is a wide range of assistance that service dogs provide, such as support for folks with PTSD. However, I think it's a good assumption that your dog isn't legit and certified when it has zero identification and you are holding it in your arms. And then they would say it's an emotional support animal, but guess what? Anyone can say their dog is an ESA, and they usually have no legitimate certification. This also pissed me off, as we did have several visually impaired customers with legitimate service dogs, and these fake service dogs also being in the cafe is a distraction for the real service dogs. I remember one smug millennial brought in their little rat chihuahua he was holding, and the interaction went like this. Me, is that a service animal? Customer, no. Me, okay. I'll let it slide this time since you're just grabbing something to go, but for the future, we do not allow dogs in the cafe unless they're service dogs. Customer, okay, but just so you know, name of another cafe in the neighborhood allows dogs. Like? Okay, go there then. The entitlement of some dog owners truly astounds me. Even if someone has doctor's letter for an ESA, that is allow them to have an ESA in a no-pet residential building. It is part of the FHA, Fair Housing Act. ESAs are not covered by the ADA and have no public access rights. Piggybacking off this to say that there is no legitimate service dog certification in the US. I was on a jury, and an old geezer, and I'm old, was actually put on the jury with his ancient chihuahua. I heard him lie to the court clerk and say it was a service dog and she wasn't allowed to ask. He wore his Trump hat the last day, also not allowed. Who wants a liar on their jury? My sister is taking money from my elderly father, and he is continuing to let it happen. I wrote a post on here last week, and everyone's replies were very helpful. To sum it up, 3 years ago my mom passed away unexpectedly from a medical issue. Since this happened, I have been actively helping my dad as he is elderly and has health issues. Last year, his issues progressed and I ended up temporarily moving in with him for a year to help out. I had left my job at the time and gave up my apartment. I was helping him full-time until recently. Within the last several months, he wanted me to be able to get back to my own life, and I wanted that as well, so I started looking at apartments. The arrangement was going to be that I would still go over to his house several times a week and be helping him with everything he needs, but trying to get full-time work separately so that my life isn't in total involvement with him. He was paying me a small amount per month when I lived there, nowhere near the amount a full-time caregiver would get. Because I had given up my job and everything to help him, he wanted to help me financially with the move, which I appreciated. So he said he would pay for the first month or two of my new apartment, while I am job searching. Last month I moved into a new place I had found. Since then I still am the one helping him 100% of the time. My sister, 34, lives 20 minutes away, but more times than not prioritizes her friendships, and the last time she helped him was on Christmas. In addition to that, he has a joint bank account that we both have a debit card to that is supposed to be for getting him things like groceries, etc. Obviously I use it to get him things, but my sister is not currently helping him and has stolen from that account several times. Every time it has happened, she has told him it was accidental, and then she'll pay him back, which she still has not. My dad is also a total enabler to her, She is extremely irresponsible about money and puts herself into debt, and even though she's not helping him right now, he gives her many handoffs financially. Recently, she and I got into an argument because she had owed me money from a lunch we went to, and she told me she could not pay me back and that it's not my money anyway, insinuating it's not my money because my dad is helping me out financially the first month of my move. I was extremely upset by this because I have been helping him full-time and asked for very little in return, and she has stolen from him and thinks it's okay to put any level of blame on me. My dad is still of sound mind. He also has a will that has been made up years ago. I know a lot of people in the last post mentioned me becoming power of attorney. The problem with that is that my dad is still making pretty conscious decisions financially and would not put me in that sort of position where I have that control, even though I am his caregiver health-wise. I believe he has everything legally worked out in case his health gets worse that my sister and I both would be technically making the decisions. A couple of days ago, I spoke to my dad and I very calmly laid everything out, and I said, "You are being stolen from. I have tried to tell you this many times, and at the end of the day, there is only so much I can do if you allow for it." He said he is not okay with her doing that, and sounded pretty adamant that he's going to require her to pay him back, and he appreciates me looking out. Exactly 2 days later, today, I go over and my dad said that my sister called him, and he is actually going to be paying for her kickboxing class for the year, which I ultimately believe was her way of calling him to ask him for money just in a general sense, needing an excuse like an exercise class that she knew he would front money for. He had a totally different tone today than he had the other day. He sounded like a complete enabler towards her, defending her when in reality he knows that she continually steals from him. I am at my wit's end and I don't know what to do. I feel like in a way I am enabling by continuing to help him when he is making these decisions that ultimately are wrong and not fair, like we see in real time the theft happening and him continuing to hand her money knowing it's happening. I feel burnout. Obviously, since my move a couple weeks ago, I have been actively looking for a job and trying to distance myself from all of this. I have some regrets about giving up my original job to help him, but at the same time, I thought it was the right decision at the time. My dad is very similar to my sister in that he has a very strong personality and can be a bit narcissistic at times. He is depending on me to help him 100%, with a small amount in return, while letting her steal and not help. I don't know what the solution is anymore, and I don't know what to do going forward. Obviously, it's ultimately his money, so if he decides that he is okay with being stolen from, there might be only so much I can do. What I can do is distance myself from helping if I feel like this is a really toxic dynamic, but obviously I have tried to still help him through everything because he is ultimately my dad. All that you can do is move on. Keep track of what is going on with the bank account. Stop helping dad. Tell him that you will not be helping him as long as he is throwing his money at your sister. Let him know that he is free to do this, but you will not be burning yourself out on his behalf while he throws money at someone that does nothing. Exactly this. Since I have to work for the money anyway, I'm going to focus on a full-time job. Let sister pay off her debt to you by helping you. Is that actually works? Watch sister screw up when his mental health declines. She'll inch out up. If you can, get the power of attorney. A person with health issues can be fined for a long time, then take a turn for the worse. Would your sister drain the bank account given the opportunity? OP, he had a totally different tone today than he had the other day. He sounded like a complete enabler towards her, defending her when in reality he knows that she continually steals from him. Your dad will not likely change. It sounds like you're stuck helping until your dad needs to go into a nursing home. Your sister is not there to help anyone but herself. He is being financially abused. Report your sister. It's a crime. Also, keep track of all the bank transactions she makes on his account, and if you discuss it with him again, record the conversation. My sister has been lying to my dad about taking his money, and I just found out another lie in real time. My dad is elderly and I am a caretaker for him. However, I recently moved after being a live-in caretaker for him for the last year. We have a joint bank account with myself and my sister that is supposed to be for expenses that are for him, like groceries, etc. My sister rarely helps him. The last time she did was on Christmas. I go over there several times a week, now that I've moved, and take him to appointments, meal prep, etc. There have been many charges on his bank account from her that she said were accidental, but they clearly were intentional because she thought she could get away with taking his money. Recently, he and I got into it because after he had found out that she took money, he had this whole song and dance about how he is going to talk to her, etc. A few days later, he ended up telling me that she asked him to pay for an exercise class for her, and he's going to do it. I knew immediately that she was likely lying. She did this class in the past, but she needed to think of an excuse to get more money from him because she spends recklessly and hasn't done the class in a while. Something just didn't feel right, and I looked up the location of this exercise studio that she had told him she's going to be going to, and it is shut down permanently. She works full-time, but spends every last cent. I don't know how to go about this. He transferred the money into her account from what I can see. I have every belief that it is not for a workout annual class and it is just extra money because she needs it. A lot of people on the last post had suggested that I become power of attorney or get that rather. Unfortunately, that won't be possible because my dad is very controlling, already has all of his will set and a future trust, and he will not want to enable anything like that right now while he is still of sound mind. I don't know what to do if that is not possible. Yes, I can just turn a blind eye, and I guess since he has accepted it and knows she's stealing and continues to enable it, then I don't know if I have any other choice. On the flip side, I could report it, but if he knows about the fact that this is happening and allow us for it, then I don't even know if that's worth it. She only calls him for money. She lies about what she needs the money for. I'm at such a crossroads. She is 34 and has no money to her name other than each paycheck she earns and then spends. Elder abuse. APS, your sister needs to be stopped. Just tell him that when she has cleared him out of all his money, to not come to you for money. He has been underpaying you for taking care of him, and I am betting that she is the golden child, while you are the scapegoat. Does he have a will, and are you even in the will? Does he have a will, and are you even in the will? I was wondering the same. OP mentioned he does have a will, but I wouldn't be surprised if almost everything goes to the sister, or that she will manipulate him to change the will in her favor. Your best bet is to step back. Let him see what happens if you stop trying to protect him from her spending the money. I disagree with that. Children that take advantage of their elderly parents go to jail in the U.S. If he is in the U.S. and on any government assistance, the U.S. government will show no mercy. Take Dad for a walk around the studio to meet up with her. Don't tell her about it, so it's a surprise to her and him. Let him realize it on his own. You can tell him you knew for a while, and the trust will melt. Yes, do this. Absolutely the best idea. This way you will be able to make your point without forcing it down his throat. He will still be able to maintain some of his dignity while deciding how he would like to proceed with your sister. It's perfect. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.